Perfect your virtual workouts and expand your brand. That is our topic today. And my name is Janice Jakes. I know many of you, but some of you are new to us. So welcome everybody. And I am the owner of the FitnessFest Conference and Expo. It's a live event, which we will get back to, I promise you. We were scheduled for April, and of course we had to reschedule. We're here outside of the Phoenix area. And our new dates for FitnessFest is our September 24th to the 27th. Our website is still live, but we're not like really pushing things. We want everybody to feel comfortable, but we have got over 100 workshops and some great certifications going on for you. So the owner of FitnessFest Conference and Expo, also the owner of Desert Moon Endeavors, which is an annual retreat that we do, mind, body, spirit type retreat, which is also held in September this year on a ranch in Oracle, Arizona, which we will all need a retreat when we get back to the new normal reality, right? And then Desert Swim School. So we teach kids to swim. And as a matter of fact, we're going to start some little backyard swim lessons in a couple of weeks because we feel that's pretty safe. So kind of glad to get back to some sort of that kind of work. So let me introduce to you our three fabulous speakers. And when I introduce you, if you could wave to everybody. So Tyler Valencia. Tyler is working on he's a PhD health and human performance in progress, MS exercise science, a BS in kinesiology. He's the founder of KIPS, which is Kinesiology Institute for Performance Specialists. He's an entrepreneur with many skill sets. These skills include online fitness education, personal training, a podcast business, and instructional design. He has won Best Personal Trainer and Best Boot Camp several years in a row in Long Beach, California. I think that's where Tyler and I first met. I want to say 2.5 years ago. We had some connection in California, and he's been a FitnessFest presenter for a couple of years. He moved to Arizona just about a year ago, and he has been, he's a great colleague for me, and he has been talking me into doing many projects, pushing me out of my comfort zone, which is not my favorite thing to do, but it's been great. So we've started podcasts. He's helping me work on my online aqua certification. So we're excited. He's quite the expert in the topic we have today. And like I said, he's got a great video that he's happy to share with you. So welcome, Tyler. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Janice, for having me. And thank you, I'll say, for everybody coming on and seeing. We got Texas in here. We got Wisconsin, Florida. It's great to see all these people.
Yeah, all over the country and even Canada. So
Canada.
Right. Yeah. And also welcome Aileen Sheron. Aileen Sheron has been an innovator and fitness entrepreneur for decades. She has presented all over the world and for IDEA for 27 years, specializing in choreography, myofascial release, equipment-based resistance programming, and so much more. She's the president of Good Natured Products. She's the inventor of the patented Omniball. And Billy Blanks was part of that, right? Isn't that what you and I talked about before?
The same company endorsed it. So they loved the product as part of they put it on part of their screen and their products that they offer. Yeah.
Okay. And as well as many other products, she also consults on product and program development for some of the biggest names in fitness. And if you've been around fitness, especially group fitness, you know Eileen's name. Aileen and I we've known each other, of each other for many, many years, but really finally just connected in the past couple of years. You were part of the Fit Expo in California. I think that was last year. I think that was last June, now that I'm thinking about it, in Anaheim. They all get rolled in together. And then it's going to be a big part of FitnessFest this September, so you'll definitely want to come see her. So thank you, Aileen. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. And it's so great to see so many, some familiar faces, but so many faces on board. So that's great.
Yeah.
This topic obviously is an interest. So
yeah, it's nice very cool. Well. Thank you. And Denise Imbesi. Denise is the visionary who pioneered one of the first fitness music companies ever. Denise, the woman behind the music, a DJ and instructor, founded Muscle Mixes Music, and anyone who's been in the industry, especially group fitness, knows Muscle Mixes Music. She's founded Muscle Mixes Music in the 3 decades since its inception, Muscle Mixes has created thousands of rockstar music mixes, a mobile streaming app, and now music for virtual classes, which of course we need, for fitness professionals worldwide. And Denise, again, has been in the industry for quite some time. Denise and her company were part, sponsors and vendors for FitnessFest over the years on and off. And it was so cool to reconnect with you, Denise. And we reconnected when I just happened to be on one of your Facebook your Facebook Live interviews with Aileen. So I'm like, oh, perfect. So that's kind of how, let's get them on board. So thank you, Denise.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here. So happy to be a part of all this. And somebody typed in there to mention Hawaii. So yes, well, hello, Hawaii.
Go Hawaii.
Aloha.
Right, correct. Okay, so we are going to get started with our questions. We're going to talk a lot about equipment and software and licensing and all that kind of stuff. So number one, how do we choose the right platform like Zoom, Facebook Live, YouTube? There's all this stuff going on when it comes to our video. So our virtual workouts and our virtual videos. So Aileen, let's start with you on that.
Sure. I think one of the first things you need to consider is your audience. Now, because of COVID and what's been going on, you'll notice, you could by a raise of hands in the audience, the ones I can see, how many people do you see all of a sudden streaming for the first time that you never saw before? Hands? Anybody? There's a glut, absolutely a glut of people who feel like as an instructor, you want to make that connection with your students. And so years ago, I thought this was an important thing that most of us should be doing to support our business. There are so many different platforms now, at least even in the last year, that have developed that are so much better than they were when they first started out. There were certain ones that wouldn't go live. Now so many go live. So you have to really choose the platform, one, for the specific audience, who's going to be there. I know Facebook is really popular, but there are a lot of restrictions when it comes to Facebook. They change the algorithms. Not everybody sees your material. They want you to boost. So when you're choosing your platform, really consider your audience. Do you want to do streaming? Do you want to shoot video and post to YouTube and have it more finished? And how complex are you willing to go? I think that things have gotten much more simple, and you can Google almost any way to get any platform up and running. But how complex is a very important component to what you should choose as far as the platform. Again, audience is first. Who's your audience? Where are they going to be? Are they a younger audience? Do you need to be more short form on Instagram? Do you need to go live on Instagram because that's your market? Or is it going to be more Facebook? Or is it going to be a platform like Patreon where people actually pay a specific amount every single month just to be a part of your clan? So the first things first is you need to think about who you really want to appeal to. Now, after this is all over, I don't think everybody should stop. I think there's an opportunity for instructors to take this lesson that we've had in the last few weeks and actually broaden your brand and broaden your perspective as far as what you do in the industry. And a lot of the streaming video and the platforms that you use even for downloading video will help you not only apply for conferences, now they ask for live video, they ask for video. So be very thoughtful in your process, who your audience is, how complex you can go. You can multi-stream on several of them, and you just have to start slowly according to your skill level. I hope that helps.
Great. Denise, you want to add to that?
Yeah, that was great, Aileen. What do you mean by multi-stream? I'm just curious.
You can set it up so that you can stream on like Facebook, and maybe you would go to Instagram as well. Instagram originally didn't let you go live, but they've included that. They used to only keep you under a minute. So it constantly changes. So now, as you found out the last time we spoke, Facebook now is going to do more meeting type, a meeting type platform like this. So it's ever changing now that so many people are on. And so you just have to investigate where your perfect audience is and what platform.
Can I ask her something, Denise?
Go ahead.
And thanks for asking that because I didn't know either. But I'm the worst though. So are you saying it was used to be 1 minute video on Instagram, or you had to go to Instagram TV? So you're saying now they allow more time?
You have to figure out which way. If it's on TV, they do live. Even YouTube does live streaming now, which they originally didn't do. So I think it's ever changing, and you need to check on which one suits you best. One of the things that I've just found out probably a year ago is you can take anything that you put on Facebook, download it to your computer, you can edit it, fix it, and load it up onto YouTube. So again, it's a process of learning what you can do, how you can store your videos, because everything you do, you don't want to waste all the effort you put into each one of your videos. You want to be able to capture it and use it for future purposes.
Yeah, well, what I would add to that is, and Aileen is great because I love watching her videos. She's live streaming on Facebook almost, is it daily? I think it's daily.
No, 3 times a week.
3 times a week, okay. No, so I think the only thing that maybe hasn't been mentioned is if you want to monetize. I think Aileen touched mostly on, free content, of course, monetization maybe through ad spend on YouTube. I know that you get some, if there's ads, if you have enough viewers, you get some revenue there. But if you want to monetize, I would highly recommend definitely an online platform. There's so many out there. There's Teachable, depending on what you want to do. There's live streaming ones, there's Vimeo, and some of them ask for a monthly fee. And I believe they take a little bit, or maybe they don't take anything. And then others, they don't ask for anything, and it's just a rev split. Like FitSwap, for example, is one of our partners right now. I love them because they're fairly new in the market. They have a marketplace of all content for fitness professionals. They have live streaming, and they have, if you want to sell finished product. I've heard a lot of people talk about Kajabi, an excellent platform. I just would suggest, as a business owner, don't do stuff that you don't know how to do. You know what I mean? I've learned the hard way. I mean, don't spend a lot of time fitzing with how do I make that the right size? And, I would rather go spend a little bit more per month and just have somebody else handle it all for you and do what you do best. You are the show. I mean, that's what people are paying for.
Right.
So I would imagine, you have, maybe we could give them a list later of different platforms. I don't know.
Well, a couple of
talk about that.
A couple of the questions are, what are the top 5? Like what would be the top 5 for fitness pros to look into? I think you guys have probably sort of already mentioned that, but what would you say are the top 5? Or do you think
I would base it on cost. I think it's basically what you're willing to. Each one will have different.
Bells and whistles.
Things that it can do better than others, and you have to figure out first of all, what your cost, what you want to spend, and how deeply you want to go into that. So for me, I never wanted to monetize because all I do is post, and then I develop programs, and then people can purchase them on the side. But it is a huge thing right now, and again, I think Patreon's a big one because it's not overwhelmed with fitness, but of course, FitSwap's another one. It's been around for a while now, and at least all the bugs have gotten worked out. And it depends on whether or not you're going to do more workshop versus more video. It really depends.
Mm-hmm. And then whether you want to live stream or sell finished, pre-recorded.
Correct.
Video.
Yeah, and there's so many different people on this call, and some have never done it. Never recorded anything, and they're totally new, don't even know where to start. And there's some have already been, really, doing a fairly good job at it, and then just want some specific advice on equipment. So there's all sorts of things, and we definitely will send a list, and we'll send some notes. Here's a question: what is the difference between the YouTube channel or YouTube Studio?
I'm sure Tyler can answer this, but I just have a YouTube channel. I don't know the difference, honestly, because I've been pumping all my time into my own channel.
Your YouTube Studio is where you can kind of see your stats, and you can make little edits to your video. I mean, you can add your end screen, or if you have any text you want to put into it after the fact, you could do that in YouTube Studio, but it's really a part of that. I wouldn't say there are differences. They're essentially the same thing. You have your channel, then you can go to YouTube Studio in order to add things to it. So you could see all your videos. You can see kind of where you are too with your analytics, how many subscribers you have, how many views you have. So all that information helps with essentially just running your channel. It's basically your manager for it.
Tyler,
I wonder if she meant YouTube Live. That might be what she meant.
let's see.
Whoever asked that question, I'm not sure.
Let me go
What do you
back
think,
to
Tyler? You think that's what she meant? Because YouTube and YouTube Live, you know,
they would still be from the same account, and you would essentially still need to apply for YouTube Live in order to stream from there. With all the add-on features with YouTube, there's typically you have to apply, or you have to make sure that they approve you for it.
Well, it was Tess who was asking it. She also asked, where is it better to download your short videos?
So Tess just recently asked, and this is a good question, and I've actually used this a couple times. So if you wanted to download from YouTube, there's an option to off of your YouTube Studio. So if you go onto your YouTube Studio, and you go to your video, you have an option to download in an MP4 format from there, and it'll be the one that's on YouTube. One of the drawbacks, though, of YouTube is that you can't replace a video, and that's the difference between YouTube and Vimeo. Is on Vimeo, I can go in and I can replace a video. Let's say that I do an update, but if I'm on YouTube, I essentially would have to delete that video if I wanted to replace it, which is kind of a drawback.
Tyler has a really great lecture that he does on YouTube. He's way believes in YouTube, and if anybody would be interested in us putting that workshop out there, that would be something that we'd have to charge a small fee for because of the way it's set up and all that. But so put your if you're interested in learning more about that in the future, let us know by email or in the chat or whatever, so we can see about that.
Yeah.
So
James, could I chime in on the last question, though, the first one, because it's almost a coincidence, I'll say, and just a pre-notice, if it looks like I'm not looking at you guys, I have a couple of screens up. The camera's over here. There's another camera over here, and then screen's over here. So if I'm looking around, it's because I'm just looking at you guys. But anyways, yesterday I was actually doing a episode on my podcast, and a great guest came on. She's up in Oregon, and she's someone that I'll say is thriving right now. She's adapted along the route in terms of what we're all facing as fitness professionals. And the reason I bring this up is that I don't run a boot camp anymore. I'm not a trainer anymore. I just do education. And so I don't train people, but this story was great to hear in terms of how she adapted to the times and essentially why she chose Facebook as her platform to stream her workouts. So she looked at Zoom, she looked at Facebook, she looked at YouTube, and essentially she landed on Facebook in terms of her ability to run her business still, because she liked the ability for them to essentially still have that community environment. So they would stream their workouts live, and then they would also keep them up there so people could come back and watch them. And essentially these are still all her members that are in there. And what she noticed was that people, even when they're at work, they would still log in just to watch it, and they would get that banter going back and forth that keeps that community going. And then she would also notice how people, they love that interaction. And that was kind of the way that they could still keep that intact, is the community aspect, because that was what she considers a big part of it. So that's actually the latest episode in my company's podcast. I would highly recommend. I'm not shamelessly plugging here. I know Janice will let me do it, but give it a listen. It's
I will.
30 minutes long, and it's a really good episode along how when they first heard that they were going to close down just because of the restrictions by the state that she's in, and then all the things that they've done along the way. And I will say that they've even started to get members. So they're attracting people across the country and utilizing this time to figure out how can we utilize this platform moving forward. Do we want to make another website, or how are we going to keep these workouts going? So I've said along the way that it's a great way to add an additional stream onto your business.
That's great. Yeah. And we can put that podcast information in the follow-up email, Tyler. We've got a question. I've had a couple of them about the seniors. I find that seniors are able to do Facebook Lives easier than other platforms. They're already using Facebook. So yeah, Aileen.
Can I say something about that? I think the bottom line is, if you're not that interested in monetizing, the easiest are Facebook and YouTube. I mean, you just can't beat it. Almost everybody knows how to get on. You don't have to pay a fee. You know, that's why I think people go on Facebook and YouTube so frequently, you know, but if you're interested in monetizing, meaning, you know, charging for your classes, I don't know, Tyler, how your friend does that. I have seen some people say they put a PayPal link, you know, making suggested donations. That's kind of cool. But it's, you know, it's tough to control. But if you don't care about charging, then those are the easiest platforms. Everybody knows Facebook, you know, over 30, 35.
I agree with you totally, Denise. But what has changed with Facebook that we need to consider, it should just be a way to build your tribe. Everybody's going to need Facebook regardless, but then where you take those people afterwards is going to be essential for your business, because they will control how many people see your videos. Originally, the algorithms have changed over the years. Like since when I've started till now, it used to be maybe 7% of my followers saw all my videos. Now it's 1.2%. So they changed the algorithm so that you have to boost, which you shouldn't do. I'd suggest always making an ad if you have to do an ad. Like if you had a special video or you wanted to take an ad out to bring people to your page to try and gain an audience that isn't in your region, maybe a specific audience, that's a great way to go. But besides Facebook, you probably need to think elsewhere to monetize and actually make a business out of it.
Definitely. And we'll talk a little bit more in our fourth question about monetizing on that. So let's move on to number 2. And we're going to start with you, Tyler. What type of equipment is best for streaming workouts? You know, talk to us about lights, mics, cameras, and action.
Okay. So I thought, and this was part of why I have the cameras going up. And in a second, I'm going to actually switch over to another camera that I have going up. And a part of this is something that I'm trying to finish up the YouTube video right now, or not right now, but I was working on it before this. But some people might have heard of what a capture card is. So a capture card essentially takes a signal from the camera and converts it into a signal that can go into the computer. A lot of people that are into gaming, they sometimes have these already. They're kind of I don't want to say they're kind of pricey, but if you were trying to do this, it really makes a difference. And so, I mean, the presenters and Janice, they were on before, so they saw what the video looks like. But really, it's a very noticeable difference in terms of quality. So I have my DSLR camera up here, and if you see right now, that's a very big difference between when I switch back. I'll quickly do that right now. And so you could see what that difference looks like. So that is a capture card right there. There are some limitations to that, and I'll have that video done by today. Then I'll send it over to Janice and she could share it, or it'll also be on the KIPS YouTube channel and the Facebook page. But it's such a useful tool. If you are looking to really upgrade or even have this as a part of your business, investing in something like this, it makes such a great, image quality. So this is a DSLR. Someone asked what kind of camera. So I have a Nikon D3300. I actually just sold another Nikon. I'm ordering another one. Janice, are we allowed to talk about what we're doing next weekend?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So Janice and I are working on some, I'll call these premiere lectures, essentially lectures that are typically at FitnessFest, and when we're going to be selling them, people can log into them. And so I bought an even nicer camera, a mirrorless camera. And the reason I bought it was that it was a camera that essentially can just run forever. So there's a lot of little details that if you are going to be using a mirrorless camera or a DSLR camera, you want to make sure to look at those. So what is the battery power like? How long can it record for? There's limitations on some of those things. So you want to make sure you read the descriptions, product descriptions, that kind of stuff. And then look at your capture card and make sure that it'll be compatible with your camera and your computer. In terms of lights, and this is also inside of a YouTube video that I already have out there. It's talking about streaming through Zoom, is just lights. Right now I did open up next to me to improve the lighting, but I do have actually another external light to my left over here, just to make sure that that side is lighted as well. These are the things, in my opinion, if you're going to be selling, if you're going to try to incorporate this into your business, it makes such a difference on the picture. And if I turn these off, it's super dark in here. And I mean, that's not what you want to be putting out for your customers. So I know that the other presenters were playfully joking about the quality of my audio right now. It's because I do have a microphone, and but since I make education, I have these types of gadgets. But there's lapel microphones that are really great. I'm using a microphone that you're not going to be want to use for your training or anything like that. But definitely investing in those and seeing how it works with your flow. And I say this because it's very important to practice this kind of stuff. Don't just plug everything in and then, okay, I'm going to start selling, or everybody to come on, log in, practice it and see what it looks like and try and improve it. If opening another door, closing a door, I mean, you got to find the right mixture for where you are, where you're streaming, whether you're in your office, whether you're in your garage, find that right mixture, because in the end of the day, that little bit of practice is going to make a difference. And then people are going to want to invite each other in, and you get these things where people across the country are wanting to sign up, and you're signing up members, and it happens. And the reason I say it happens, and I don't mean to promote that episode again, but the guest we had on, she was talking about she was saying, I think she said for every 5 people that either left or didn't come back, another 3 were signing up, which I think is great to hear at this time. Other than that, so microphone, lights, cameras, just check that stuff out. It is an investment, and I know that I'm very fortunate that I have this stuff to be able to show off. And I use it for other stuff that we do with KIPS and what we do with FitnessFest. But you could easily set something up, and especially if you wanted to make this a part of your business, I would say you could set a package up for, and this might sound like a lot, $1,000, but it makes a big difference.
I think what we've realized is a lot of us have had to reinvent, adapt, change. And like someone mentioned before, I think it was Aileen, it's like, even when the gyms open, and they will open, they're not going to, you could still use your virtual videos, your virtual workouts. You could still use that equipment and the things that you're learning and the things you've already learned to expand on your business. I mean, the ones who are real, the people who are the fitness professionals who are really adapting and learning and growing are killing it. And yeah, things are rough financially for a lot of people, but a lot of people are doing very well because they're figuring some of this stuff out. So it is like, even if you get back to teaching and training, you can make more money than you did before. So let's continue on with Aileen talk. And just one more thing, Tyler, the video that you already have made, does that go into more specifics about types of equipment and where people and the prices and what they can get?
Yeah, that one has pricing for microphones, lights, I think a couple cameras in there. The one that I'm working on now is specifically for capture cards, which is the device that you need to set up the camera to the computer. So
I definitely will send you guys his already made video.
And also, I have a list of equipment that I use. I did start with my iPhone. Key for us instructors, you need to get lighting. And nowadays, it's not that expensive. I'm using some lighting right here. And it also a microphone. The one thing that I dislike the most, what I see out there, are people are not using microphones. The moment you step away from your phone or your laptop, you are not heard well. And I think that changes the view on how the quality of that video is perceived. You need to get a microphone. They're not as expensive as you think. And you might even be able to get one that you can use at your own club so that you're not sharing with everybody else anymore. And it might be something that you're really considering doing at this point, is microphone for sure, lighting for sure, tripod. You need some great tripod to hold it all together and to make sure that your quality is and again, you can start with an iPhone. I just recently bought a camera, a mirrorless camera, but my iPhone did great.
So I know we're going to send them a list. Can you just maybe name 1 or 2, Aileen, mics that you could recommend right now?
Sony's a great microphone. I use a Sennheiser. Those are also really good ones. You can get a Rode mics are great. Shure microphones are great. Deity microphones are great. I have about 5 or 6 I listed in my notes for everybody. What I would do is look at what you can afford and look at the ratings. Some of them work better for fitness than others. I have a lavalier. I have an over the ear, so it's interchangeable when I'm doing different things. You can also buy a boom mic, which would help. You don't even have to wear anything. That would just help extend and open up the room a little bit better so that your audio sounds better. The options are limitless. It's no matter what budget you're at, you can find equipment that's going to up your ante as far as looking more professional on video, for sure.
Great. And a lot of comments in the chat and a lot of other recommendations as well, because I know a lot of you are already doing this kind of stuff. And like Margie said, Galaxy Trek mic is a good one, under $200. I have the Motov, I don't know if from Amazon, $79. So yeah, great.
Lots of options.
Lots of options. Denise, you have anything you want to add to this?
I have one thing to add, and that is the way the music sounds. If you're using music and the mic, especially if you are on Zoom. And I'm not going to sit here and give you the instructions because there's a lot of different ways to do it. But one option is you could use a mixer where you put the mic into one and you put the music into the other. But there are options on Zoom, and you have to look on the Zoom FAQ, or I could, if you guys need that information, I could send it to you, how to set up your Zoom account. So that, because it's tricky and it takes a lot of trial and error to figure that out. So that's my only input on that.
Well, that's a super good point. Thank you. All really great information. I know there's a lot of options, and there's a lot of price options, and there's a lot of different goals, and people out there who have different objectives and different goals. Please send info on Zoom account. That would be helpful. How do you connect the mic to your computer?
It's not a single sentence answer.
But I have to say, you can almost find out every single attachment set up if you Google it or go to YouTube. I watched a guy who was fantastic getting me kind of queued up and ready. My husband has been wonderful as well. But once you start integrating more pieces of equipment, like I know my iPhone 8 wouldn't sync with my Sennheiser, so we had to figure that one out. The minute you change your phone, it might not be compatible with your microphone. So all those things need to be considered. But you can always find somebody on YouTube that's had to go through the same kind of issue.
She's right. It's the best resource.
Yeah, so true. Whenever I can't figure out something, my kids and Gretchen always say, "Yeah, look at it and Google." Thanks. Could you just do it for me, please?
Don't you hate that? I'm with you, Janice. Like,
little brats.
Just Google it. Yeah, just do it. Little brats.
Yeah. Margie said Bluetooth attachments are common. The Galaxy has a plug into your phone. Thank you, Margie. Sounds like you do a lot of this stuff. I assume, Margie, you don't really, do you do this for Aqua? Go ahead and unmute yourself. And because I know we always have Aqua people on the call.
I'm not doing it for Aqua right now. What I'm doing is a movement class that's meant for them to be on land, but the mic works great.
Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's move on to number 3, and we'll, of course, start with Denise on this one. What is the skinny on music licensing when it comes to these projects?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
We'll just mute you then.
Yeah, just forget me. Okay, so just so that we're clear to differentiate between these, what differentiation of the different projects are. There's live stream, just so you have the terminology. There's live stream, and then there's pre-recorded video. And live stream is what we're doing right now. Well, yeah, we are. We're live streaming. We are sitting here at this exact time, and we're going out there. And the minute we hang up, if Janice didn't hit record, it would go away.
Yes, it is. Good.
Yes, it is. Okay, good. I like to equate live stream with broadcast, old school broadcasting, like the news reporter who's live on the set. Hi, I'm here at the car accident. That's what live streaming is. Mm-hmm. And then the other option is recording a video, whether it's a class, a lecture, whatever the case may be, and selling it later or just streaming it later, putting it on YouTube for free. Those are the two big, differences. And the reason why I'm I could go on and on about music licensing. I'll try not to go too long, but there is a little bit of a difference. The rule of thumb, and I'm not an attorney, I always want to get my disclaimer in there, but the rule of thumb with licensing is always this. If you are licensing music that you don't own or you didn't produce yourself, most likely you have to get permission and pay a fee. There are some exceptions right now during the COVID period because I spoke to ASCAP and I've read some things that have said that, if you're live streaming, that means one and done. They're not going to, right now during this period, that's not their priority to go after, Is it correct legally? No, it is not. If you ask an attorney, they're going to say, no way, don't use it. What I mean by that is using popular music, songs that you hear on the radio, on Spotify, that kind of thing. And even muscle mix songs, because our songs are re-records of popular songs. So what we've created, and some certain other music companies have, and out there on the web, you can Google it, is what I like to call, or what the industry calls, royalty-free music. And royalty-free music can be used on most everything if that company allows you to. Typically, you pay one fee, and it's royalty-free, meaning you never have to pay again. And royalty-free can be used both for live streaming and for pre-recorded videos without any sleepless nights, not worrying about anything legal, no issues. However, if you're only going to be shooting video and selling it or even giving it away, if it's going to be recorded, not live streamed, you should never use a song that's what I call popular songs, because if it goes on Facebook, three things can happen. One, they can mute the music. I know that happened to Aileen. They can take your whole video down. They could close your account or temporarily close it. I guess
a couple warnings.
Warnings. They could put you in Facebook jail. I don't know if you've heard of that. Yeah, they put you in Facebook jail. Facebook's actually the worst when it comes to that. They will take you down. They will take the content down. And you don't want that. You spend all that time putting that up and,
YouTube also will state if your music comes up as well, Denise, that if your music is noticeable, they will mention it, that you're using.
Yes, they'll flag you. Now, I've heard with YouTube, they're a little less lenient, and I'll tell you why if you want to know. YouTube has some deals with record labels and publishers. So there is some music that's okay.
Wider expansion, yeah.
Yes. And what they do is, what I've seen happen is if you have a YouTube video, and I think somebody asked this before, if you have a YouTube video where you are monetizing that YouTube video through ads, they will say, okay, you're in violation of music, so your royalty, your monetization goes away, but we'll keep the video up. So they'll do that. You just don't want to mess with anything on YouTube or Facebook when it comes to popular music. Stick with the royalty free. And really, across the board, that's what everybody should do. However, right now during COVID, because the gyms are closed, people are fit pros are just saying, hey, I'm going to teach a class. I want Bruno Mars. I want Lady Gaga. I want whatever. And I'm just going to do it and one and done. And, on Zoom, like if we had music playing right now, is it legally correct? I have to say, no, it's not. Are people doing it? Yes. And it's probably okay during this time. So,
yeah.
So somebody just asked, does Zoom check music? No, Zoom doesn't. But, people think Zoom is secure, but we've all learned that Zoom is not secure. So there are companies that police just music. They work for the labels, they work for the publishers, and that's all they do. They go out there and they police. My understanding is that there's two types of policing that they do. One is automated, and one is using humans. And what I read recently is that the human is not as, right now during COVID, they have to stay home, so they're not working as much. But the bots are out there, and the automation and the algorithms are out there, and they will, it's such a shame. I've seen people do beautiful workouts and then the whole thing comes down, on Facebook. So
So going back to ASCAP.
Is that a good overview? I mean, is that
really good? Really good.
Okay.
Going back to ASCAP, and so as a conference host, we have to pay for ASCAP. So I wonder if we do, like we're going to be starting these live stream workshops next Saturday, May 16th. And I don't know if we'll have music for that, but we'll end up having ones that do have music. So I wonder if I pay for my ASCAP license, if it will, I guess I'd have to ask them that, right? If it would cover the,
well, you already know the answer.
Eileen.
You already know the answer.
They want my money twice. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Let me tell you what. Let me tell you why.
Yeah.
When it comes to music on video, it's just a whole different ballgame. What you're doing is you're playing music in a public place, and that's called a performance rights license. When you're playing music on video, it's a different type of license. It's called a synchronization license. They're going to get you coming and going. However, recently learned through ASCAP or BMI or CSAC, you can call them and get a yearly license. For somebody like you, Janice, it might be worth it if you're going to be doing a lot of content. And it's for digital live stream only. You can't pre-record it and sell it later. So, and it's in the hundreds. It's not the thousands. You pay yearly, similar to your performance rights license. Okay. So they do have a license now. You know, it keeps changing, but they do have a digital license.
Or you can just hire Denise and buy her music and use hers.
Well, there you go. That's a better idea right there.
And then let her take care of all the other stuff. I think that's the easiest way to go usually. If you're going to get serious about doing film, any kind of video content, and you're going to capture it and you're going to sell it, you do not want to mess with it. Every single company I've ever done, I've done probably hundreds of videos. I've done probably about 20 premiere videos. Even the high-end one, like Weight Watchers, used licensed music that was not going to have any problems, because down the road you don't want to put all this effort into your video content just to have a problem.
Right.
Yeah, no, she's right. She's right. And I'm being subtle because I don't want to be like self-promotion here.
I won't be.
It's okay.
She's right. I mean, if you don't want to mess with it, that's the way to go is royalty free. Well,
yeah, I think people need to understand that, because somebody asked that. Terry asked that is Muscle Mix is it royalty free? She mentioned we do have say that.
No, it's okay. I saw that's fine. So we do have royalty free, and we have popular music. So we have actually, since COVID started, we've been cranking out royalty-free music just on purpose for you guys. And my goal is that I want our royalty-free music to be so kick-ass. Oh, am I allowed to say that?
You're allowed to say ass, yes.
Ass, okay. So, I mean, you're drinking water and cucumber, so I figured. So
I am, I swear.
We want it to be so good that you're not regretting, like, I got to use that stuff. So, and of course it's never going to be the same, but I want it to be so good. That's what we're working on. That's our goal right now, is music to be so good that you don't mind using it, even if it's during the, temporary. So, although I do see down the line, there's going to be a hybrid, wouldn't you think? Isn't that what everybody's saying? There's going to be a hybrid situation where 10 people per class, if that's the way it's going to be in some states.
Oh, gosh.
And they'll also, I know.
Somebody just told me, we were with a trainer this morning, and he said, I forget what state it was. Must have been sorry if anyone lives there. They said their gyms were going to open with they're allowed one person. That does make no sense. Neither does really 10, but one. So I was like Indiana or some weird state like that. Sorry if anybody lives there. Maybe it was Iowa. I don't know. But
something with an I.
Something, one of those, wherever they are. Okay, moving on. Tyler, do you have some input on this?
No, I thought it was great what Denise said, and just making sure you do your homework. I know that in items that I've developed, just making sure I get royalty-free music, it is a struggle. And just recently I had to purchase a song because I just could not find anything solid in the royalty-free stuff out there. So it's depending upon what you're doing and what kind of vibe you're trying to set, you just sometimes got to do your homework and sometimes end up purchasing a song.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Good stuff. Let's see if there's anything.
Hope that helped you guys.
Very much. If the facility you work for is posting, oh, that's a good question. I assume, well, I shouldn't assume, if the facility you work for is posting the video online for themselves, so that's what's going on a lot, I'm sure everywhere, but it's definitely in Arizona, like let's say EOS or Mountainside Fitness or whatever is asking you, the instructor, to do videos for their members. Who's responsible? Who's liable? Who's responsible?
You're talking about for the music?
Yeah.
Or just
for the music. I think that's what Jodelle is asking, right?
Yeah, the page is going to be audited. So if they find that there's music that's breaking the rules, they could absolutely do something with it, right?
It's the page. Yeah, it's just like the performance license. It's the facility, not the instructor, who's responsible. So wherever it's being, not the instructor.
Okay. I think that's what she's asking. And then Janelle, you also asked, also if I've paid for the music, is it covered? Does that mean like if you bought the CD or whatever, the 8-track, whatever?
That's a good question. I mean, a lot of people ask that. It doesn't matter whether you pay for it or not. Depends on what type of music it is. If it's the music is well-known, popular music, whether it's from us or one of our competitors or Spotify, you shouldn't use it. And if it's royalty-free, you should be okay. Yeah.
Okay, great.
So there you go.
Okay, let's move on to our last topic question. If you three are all good with that? Okay,
sure.
Great input, all three of you. As true professionals, should we be charging for our virtual workouts? Aileen, why don't you start? As you're shaking your head.
Shaking your head.
I think that's what's happened right now, especially. It's okay that things are free, but the reason you're giving away content, it's a carrot. It's a way to bring people into and see your brand and see what you have to offer. You should be doing small bits, not giving everything away. You know, if you're wearing some pretty lingerie, think of it that way. You don't want to give everything away. And what I normally do is shorter content on my sites. And I do videos that are longer or workshops that are longer. And I'm not a hard pitch kind of gal, but I do valuable workshops that I create. And so if I said, if you like what you just saw, I do a bigger workshop on this and give people the opportunity. What you want them to do is you want them to be able to get their email. You want to get a way to get their information. So you might say, email me and I'll send you a free guide to what I eat in a week. Or you want to bring them in and you want to develop your crowd. And the best way to do that is with content, because they'll fall in love with you. Not everybody's cup of tea. So the people who will like you, who will want to follow you, will want to continue to follow you. So yes, you want to tease them with some smaller bits after this is all over. Create content that you can sell. I think that's probably one of the things that you need to think the most about. What's your niche? What do you think you're really good at? And it could be fitness and nutrition. It could be fitness and one aspect of fitness that maybe other people aren't doing, or maybe it's just kids or just seniors or just aqua. But yes, you want to give something away, because that's the way that people can really get to know who you really are. And then you want to take them over to your email, build an email list so that you can market your other information to them later on. I think that's the way to go.
Okay, cool. Tyler, you've got some comments about that?
Yeah, I have to agree. Well, before I go into my response, I think it's really cool to scroll through and see all the people that are taking notes. I scroll through it and I look at everybody. I know it's kind of creepy, but just letting you know that I do look at everybody that's just chilling there. And I see some animals, which is cool too. But anyways, I would say that I agree, especially with what Aileen said about content. I'm a big believer in content creation. I mean, the YouTube video that we were talking about earlier, it's content and it's developed for the purposes of marketing. And I even have a style that is, I've spoken at conferences about, called YouTube-centered digital marketing. Essentially, it's creating content for YouTube, but it's the same way. You're giving them a taste, just how Aileen said, and essentially to get them to purchase the bigger package. And I think, in my opinion, if you're doing streaming workouts or if you're going to be selling them workouts, it's making sure that the quality of the product is good enough. I would essentially take the same mindset that if it was live, that you are essentially creating something so good that your competitors, that you can compete with your competitors, but also it's something that is professional, that it is something that has a high level of knowledge associated with it, and that also shows your expertise. Those are things that you could still do at this time. And we're definitely seeing it. And I know that I've talked with Janice about this in terms of people that are adapting, making those changes. And I think that has also been a theme throughout this I get so used to saying podcast from recording podcasts, but from this Zoom call, is that you got to adapt and you got to, look out there, see what's out there. 100% agree with what Aileen and Denise said in terms of there's tons of information out there. That's how I learn everything. A lot of things. I do have educational degrees, but those are in exercise science. But this stuff with the tech stuff, that all comes from YouTube. I mean, that's where I learned all this stuff, and cameras and microphones and lighting, all that kind of stuff came from YouTube. And so it's definitely out there. You just got to be willing to take the time, be patient, and be willing to learn a new skill, because I honestly believe anybody in this call, and I'll scroll through everybody again if you want me to, anybody in this call can do it. They can make a new website. They can find out ways to sell it. They can find ways to monetize it. All those things are possible. Just got to put yourself out there. I think that's the big thing. Put yourself out there.
Right. So let's continue. Denise, do you want to say anything about as far as, monetizing, charging?
If there's time, sure, I'll say something. I would ask the question, why not? Why are you out there putting classes up? And maybe there is another reason. I mean, I see some people on there that are every day, working hard, doing hour-long classes for free on Facebook. I don't know why they're doing it. Maybe there's a reason, but as a business owner, I can only think to myself, I love fitness professionals. I've been doing this since I was 10 years old. No, I'm kidding. 30 years ago. And
hey, that's my joke.
Yeah. Oh, damn it. That's mine. I thought it was mine. But, we've worked so hard, especially because it's mostly women in this industry. We've worked so hard to elevate ourselves and to be taken seriously and to, to make it a way, to have a way of living, being a fitness professional. Why not?
Yeah.
Don't lower the bar rate, elevate yourselves to being a business. You are worth something. Every single one of you on this call is worth to be paid, to do a job. It's a job, I know, because everybody loves it so much, and gosh knows nobody's doing it for the money. Right.
No, so, I'm so glad you said that, because that's the way I feel about it. And I see a lot of stuff out there that is like free, and we are going through challenging times. And so I don't want to say, well, that's not fair because you're not charging, and then makes it hard for someone who wants to charge. But we are professionals. We have a lot of education. We have a lot of background. We've worked hard. So, we have a value. But I also like what you said too, Aileen, about, it's one thing to give a teaser or something free. Totally. You gotta work it. You gotta work your business. You gotta build that trust if you don't already have it, or if you want to get new clients. So, but, and I don't know if what's going to come up, what do you charge? Well, I don't know if you guys want to say anything about that. I think there's just too many variables to answer that question, right?
Yeah. If you're in LA or if you're in,
Depends on the market. Right. Yeah. Just what Denise is saying. It depends on the market.
The market and
what your competitors are doing.
And your group and what you're offering makes a huge difference in what you're charging. If you're going to do some kind of personal coaching for 10 people across the country, that's going to be different than you selling a program that maybe took you a certain amount of time. The key, again, with the smaller content and the larger content, I think what I see out there is the big important part is your audio, your video, and your lighting needs to be a step above, and not just step in front of the camera and don't look at your background. Your audio has to sound great. It has to look professional. And I think that's what's going to set you apart from a lot of the junk that's out there, because you see, hey dude, they're just kind of get on there, and they're not even set up, and their back is to the camera, and then they're looking in a few times to make sure it's on. And you've got 3 seconds from the time you press that button. You should be in your spot. You should say an intro. You should say a closing. There are some things we can really get into when it comes to the video content itself, but it needs to look professional, whether or not you're giving them a small taste of something very important and intriguing, or whether or not you're giving them an entire workshop or plan of attack. So
I love that you brought that up again, because, and you mentioned it a little earlier, Aileen, about like really testing it and really checking out, like, practicing. And Tyler feels exactly the same way you do, because we're going into we'll call it my studio, my office, and we're testing, we're practicing for our first live stream workshop that's going to be next Saturday, because he wants it to be perfect. And like he says, like there's a lot of crap out there. And if you're going to sell it, then, make it look good, make it sound good. And luckily I have him, because he's got the lighting, he's got the mics, he's making me, like I said, go out of my comfort zone. So, and the price, of course, depends also, like the workshops we're doing next week are going to have a continuing education value to it. Like we've paid for the CECs and, and then, right. All that. So there are a lot of variables on that, but again, Absolutely. Make it look good, make sure it sounds good, test it, charge for it. And I know some of it's super overwhelming, really overwhelming. Somebody asked, like, can I pay somebody to work on this for me? You probably can. And there's some questions Absolutely. That we didn't get to, which we will, once we get off the call and when we do the follow-up, I'll get with these 3 and we'll try to answer those, because we've already been on an hour. So I do really need to get to my harder list.
Friday night, baby. Friday night over here.
Yeah, right. So I'm going to ask the 3 of you if you have anything else to add before we do a little closing.
Nope, I'm good.
Just take a chance. A real quick story. The first time I went live on Facebook about this, about 4.5 years ago, it took me 2.5 hours to press the live button. 2.5 hours. I sat there and went, and then I had zero people watching me, 0. But a lot of people ended up watching later. So you have to just take that chance, do it. You can also on Facebook only go live to yourself, so you only see it. So you can just test the waters a few times. So I'm just going to encourage you, if anybody out there has any questions, my email will be a part of this as well, Janice, and anyone who ever has my email for the rest of their life, they're always able, and I'm offering you opportunity to ask me any question for the rest of your life, or the rest of mine, which is probably much shorter.
Well, thank you. All 3 of our speakers are very approachable. They love to give, love to serve. So don't be afraid to reach out to them once we give you their contact information. So
absolutely.
Thank you.
Here to answer any questions on music as we navigate this.
Right, as we navigate this together. So,
yeah.
So everyone has looked, a lot of people on the call are new to us, but there's many who have been with us every single Friday. You look forward to the Fridays.
Wow.
And we've been told that, and we appreciate that. We love to connect as fitness professionals. We've had a lot of different topics. They've all been amazing. The speakers have all been amazing today was fabulous. So thank you, the 3 of you. You're just really all the knowledge and all the information. And
thank you, Janice.
We will follow. Yeah, we will follow up. So, next Friday, we don't have completely planned, but Gretchen had a really great idea. If it turns out good, it was my idea, but if it flops, then it's her idea. That's just the way I do things. So we're going to look for fitness speakers, fitness professionals from other countries. Like Fred Hoffman from Paris and somebody from Australia, and ask them how they're doing and what's going on in their fitness world. So we thought that would be pretty exciting. So if we can pull that together, that might be a challenge, because it'll be 3 a.m. when people have to get up. But if it's not, we'll think of something exciting and different for you, because each week has been just great. We love the connection, and I know we can't touch and hug each other, but at least we've got our Friday Zoom calls. So we will continue them. Don't worry, guys. And then you will get you'll get an email tomorrow. Tomorrow our email blast goes out, and then, of course, social media about what Tyler's been talking about. So if you want to listen. If you want the live stream workout, there's two or 0.2 CECs for it. It's Conscious Eating with Stephanie Kroon. And last week we talked about brain health, and we're kind of continuing with that. It's like, this is a time where we want to try to be present, talk about our, all of our emotions that are going on, and why we're maybe eating more than we typically do because we're working from home or whatever. So emotional eating, conscious eating, it's going to be at 10 o'clock live, and you sign up for it. It's only $29.99, and you do get the CECs and questions and answers and all that. So you'll get information about that. And of course, these weekly Fit Connection get-togethers are continue to be free. And so I wanted to give that plug. And I think that's it.